Welcome back to the Forex Fortress as we get ready for another beautiful Friday of weekly closures all across the board. Want to follow up on Bitcoin price action as well. And yes, I should also say that yes, indeed, I did miss yesterday's because I was actually taking care of some Finnish immigration stuff, as I'd like to stay here as long as possible with my beautiful girlfriend. Anyways, with that said, we'll start off with Dixie as always. And last week we saw the big bag breakdown below that critical $92 region, of which that did initiate the next move down, which I would be targeting somewhere down at around actually 90 even. We're getting pretty damn close to that bouncy bounce territory, but as it stands right now, we do have a death cross on the weekly for the first time in, well, multiple years actually. Last time we actually had even a legitimate death cross was way the fuck back on over here in January 2003, which didn't get reverted until almost 10 years later in 2012. So could this go on for quite some time? Yes, it could. However, I would still be going by level in this region right here, and we are getting pretty close to a short-term bouncy bounce area. Could it be a reversal area as well? Potentially, yes, but there's no talks of of like an actual reversal until Bitcoin, or not Bitcoin, but Dixie does something as equally impressive on the other side. And in this case right here, as long as we're below that same breakdown point of about $92 that we spoke about for the last few months and its relevancy, I don't really have any real reason to believe that any sort of bounce within this region right here is going to be anything more than just that, just a little puny bounce before potentially further continuation of the downside, as the monthly is in full-on breakdown territory right now, and even exceeding the 200 exponential average, as you can see right here. So with all of that said, I do want to go into the very low-term timeframes right here and see, actually 4 hours actually bearish right here too. What about the daily? Daily's bearish as well. So yeah, I do believe that there's going to be not just short-term move to the downside, probably down somewhere around this $90 even region. But all higher-term timeframes are bearish here, so fair enough. So we'll go down the list right now and start off with good old Aussie Dollar, of which we didn't get a chance to follow up on it yesterday because we weren't here, obviously. But let's I suppose just prepare for the weekly closure, or actually before we prepare for the weekly closure, daily while we're here, bullish. Weekly while we're here, bullish. And technically speaking, next major target for the weekly will be around 75.5 long term, somewhere right around here. And that's also going to be the weekly 377 exponential average as well. I'm curious what the monthly looks like as well. Yeah, monthly has the 89 right in that region too. So multiple points of confluence long term. Yes, still looking for some upside here. What about short term though? What about a 4 hour? 4 hour can ebb and flow a little bit. Wouldn't mind another short term move to the downside, somewhere back down around 73 3/4. But overall, all higher timeframes are Bula-ish. Moving on to Cad Dollar over here. What do we see? Short-term timeframes, bullish. Let's go to the daily, bullish. Let's go to the weekly, bullish. Let's go to the monthly, bullish. I think it's bullish, actually. Yeah, I'd be looking for this one to, long-term target's going to be somewhere right around about just below 79 cents, it looks like. What about on the daily? Daily is just continuation is what it is after a nice little breakout there, so fair enough. Don't really have anything to say else about that. And 4 hours short-term bullish as well, as long as we are above that 77.5 pivot, which was our target earlier this week, now being exceeded. Nice. All right, fair enough. There we go. Anyways, on to Euro Pound, or actually Swiss franc dollar. And 4 hour bullish, daily bullish, weekly bullish, monthly. Fuck! They're all bullish. Yeah, bullish in all time frames. Monthly actually looking really, really good here. In fact, as monthly RSI does remain in the bullish control zone, this looks like it's going to be set up for a nice stint even higher. It did hit our 112.25 target from earlier this week. I'd now go ahead and extend this long term towards 114.5. Short-term time frames are just basically continuation here. So, I'm sure that there's going to be an ebb and flow in the short-term timeframes as well, but for now, just upside, essentially. Looking for Euro Pound. What do we see right here? Something that's not just fucking mind-numbingly bullish. That's great. That's excellent. And that's also terrible for Euro Pound. Yeah. We did hit our 90.25 target. I guess it was 90.5 target. It actually got exceeded quite a bit yesterday. Fair enough, though. But what would I be looking for now? Would I be looking for a greater pullback from this region? I want to see how the weekly sets itself. I could be bullish coming into next week, looking for an extension to 91 cent even. If it closes essentially here or higher, anywhere above about 90.25, then yes, I would be looking for that next move to the upside. And if I did have to call it right now, momentum oscillators are being, more or less upwards pointed, and we do have a little bit of hidden bullish divergence potentially in progress here too, with any sort of a closure tonight above 90.25. So yes, that is a big bad pivot. Any sort of a closure above there, I'm looking for further continuation into the next couple weeks above 91 cents actually. Moving on to Euro Dollar. Motherfucker. Jesus Christ, man. All right, well, fair enough. There goes all my dollars, I guess. That's great. It's like an opposite, it's like an inverted Dixie chart right here as we see that golden cross on the weekly. And we did hit our 121 target. That was based off of the breakout from last week, closing above that critical 119 pivot, which I guess I don't even have in here anymore, but it was this level right here. Boom, closes above. That's your next move up to 121. And next, more like medium-term target is going to be like about 123.5, anywhere between there and 1.25 even, somewhere right in this territory right here. Now, long-term, looking at the monthly, I would be looking for a pullback based upon that region, and yeah, I don't think I'll say anything more than that, but basically bullish in all time frames up to about 123, 124 region, so fair enough. More upside, huh? More motherfucking upside. But yeah, closing the weekly like this is just, that's just continuation. Anywhere above 121 is going to look very, 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 very good for further highs coming into next week. Pound yen, what do we have right here? Ooh, brushing up against our topside resistance. I'd be looking for a pullback just based upon that. Maybe it does gun officially for the 200 simple overhead, but I would be looking for a little bit of a short-term pullback based upon this region at the very least. 4 hours actually still constructive. Daily still constructive as well. So could it be that we actually do see this area, or we do see this area taken out? Well, I don't need to put an opinion on that because we can document that with a nice horizontal. And as long as we're below 141 on a weekly closing basis, I would not be, willing to call like an actual reversal and, the bear doom times are over. I need to see this area get taken out officially on a weekly before I look at some piece of shit like this that is likely to, do something that it hasn't done since, well, realistically. Well, when was the last time that this thing was like actually bullish? I guess back in December 2012 for a couple of years there, all the way up to 2015. Ever since then, absolute garbage. So fair enough. I would probably be looking for another stab to the upside short term, maybe even officially at just below 141. But I would be looking for, at the very least, a short and probably medium term time frame pullback from that region. And we'll come back to it next week. Pound dollar, what do we see right here? Short term, a little bit of upside, kind of crawling its way. Daily upside, weekly, looking pretty damn good. And in fact, this pound dollar is doing what the pound yen, or sorry, what I'd be looking for on the pound yen in order to kind of call at the very least like a medium term reversal or potentially a weekly reversal, as it is taking out the prior high, putting a higher low right here. So we do have reversal in progress. Any sort of a closure today above 133 3/4. Yes, I'm looking for this to get extension probably up to the 377 here at 138 over time. But of course that is over time, not necessarily next week. But as we just kind of went over, all time frames essentially are bullish here too. Wow, this is a fucking titillating analysis, Crown. Great job. Just say up everywhere that you go. It's a mind-numbingly bullish market right now, I suppose. Yen dollar, bullish on the daily. Weekly bullish. Monthly bullish. Still long-term targets, probably somewhere around the 200 simple at 97.50-ish region. Short-term a little bit more sideways, but I do like the rise and lows coming in around 95.80-ish region. As long as that condition's met, I'm basically bullish on all time frames. So I don't really have like a natural proclivity right here. It's just overall to the upside. But this one is a bit more of a range, and I actually would be interested down around there if I could get that trade. Nasdaq, what do we see right here? Oh, is this new all-time high territory? I think that it is, and I think that any sort of a closure, basically here or higher, I'd be looking for new all-time highs coming in next week with an overall target somewhere in the low $13,000 region, probably over the next month or two. But for right now, we're just brushing up against the 1.414. You could argue that we've already seen a little bit of a pullback from that region yesterday, and I would agree. Yes, that was actually rather relevant. So any sort of a weekly closure here or higher, I'm looking for new all-time highs coming in next week, and probably a couple more weeks after that with clear eyes on the $13,000 level. Moving on to gold. My golds has gold reversed. No, I wouldn't call it that just yet. I do think that it has more upside here, back up to like 1850-ish region. We did hit we almost hit our target down to 1750 to the downside before that bounce. 1760, I would say that that's close enough, but there's always gonna be someone out there. No, fuck you, Crown, you're wrong. It's like, all right, okay, okay. Well, fair enough. I mean, technically speaking, you are right. But yes, looking at this right here, I would not call a reversal back onto the upside on a weekly until we do one of two things. Close a weekly dildo above the 21 exponential moving average, preferably open and close one, actually. Actually, that would be the main thing that I'm looking for. I wouldn't do this on a daily. I don't think that it would be relevant, or I just think that it would be more or less noise because the daily is brushing against the 21 as it is right now. So if I did have to call it, I'd probably be looking for a short-term pullback based off this region right here, and then we'll come back to it next week. Pullback target would be maybe 1820-ish region, about. All right, moving on to Mr. Bitcoin. Actually, let's go back onto my regular charts over here. Actually, I want to start off with this chart right here, the CME weekly chart. We spoke about this in the morning's video, that this is going to be the main thing that kind of supersedes everything, or at least I'd really want to know what's going on right here because of this one major thing, and that is the weekly Trollinger bands right here, of which we're currently living very healthily above. Yes, it is currently coming in around 18,500. I would say any sort of a closure basically above 19,000 is going to imply another test back onto the prior high of this week, which would be into the $20,000 region, I imagine, and likely continuation to new all-time highs for the week to come. Now, that would also imply that on the other side, and I wouldn't necessarily say that $19,000 is the magical number. The downside will be very obvious if we see any sort of a weekly closure, obviously below 18.5 pivot, but I'd even postulate below 18.6 would be bad enough as well. And then we could potentially talk about, a greater pullback, maybe even back down to, the $17,000 or $16,000 base over the next few weeks. But for right now, I do think that all we have to do is just wait for the closure later tonight, and we'll have clarity on that situation. We can go back on over here into the short-term timeframes, of which we were looking for a pullback in this morning's video, and I believe we're getting a pullback right now. So I still stick with what I've been saying. 19,550 to the upside is that 4-hour pivot. That as long as we're under, I'm basically bullish on on all high time frames, I should say, but I'm not really looking for the next move into the $20,000 region, which would have that next target at the 1.414 extension right here at about 20,500-ish region short term, if this area were to be broken to the upside. But I do think that Bitcoin probably spends a little more time going sideways here, filling out the downside as well. But overall, again, all higher time frames are bullish as as far as I'm concerned as it stands right now. Here's your daily, here's your 2-day, or 2-day, just a fucking backfill in the last open, by the way. 3-day, same shit. Weekly, still, well, a few days left to go, to be fair. Monthly, very, very powerful shit here too. But I do want to remain cognizant of course, the monthly that we were looking at back on over here, because the topside Trollinger band for the monthly is likely to be a little bit of a magnet for price action. Doesn't mean that it has to officially test right there, or it can always overshoot as well, as you see plenty of times in past prior markets, which we can reference really, really quickly right here on a more long-term time frame. Yes, anytime that it does try above, typically do get a test down actually to the 9 exponential moving average, which currently speaking is around $14,000, just saying. Although not necessarily, I don't think it'd be very wise of me to call a move like that, similar to, it wouldn't be very wise of me to just call like a blind move to 30,000 from here either. It's like, take it one step at a time, of course. Short term is down though, however, as we see all momentum oscillators on the short term timeframes in concert right now. 4-hour Stokes down, 3-hour Stokes down, 2-hour Stokes down, hourly Stokes down. And this is kind of what we were looking for on this morning's video to denote the next break on that next break to the downside. So let's bring up the relevant areas now for the short-term timeframes, which we're actually pretty much at one right now, or very, very close to it. I would be looking for a short-term bounce somewhere off the 18,750 level, we'll call it, anywhere between there and wherever the 4-hour 55 is, which is also akin to the 786 right here. So that'd be a $50 range between 18,700 and 18,750. I would be looking for a short-term bounce on there. Personally speaking, I do think that area likely does break. Officially, I'd like to see a 4-hour closure below this level, and then yes, your next algo target is likely going to be into the extremely low 18,000s or extremely high $17,000 region, and then I'd probably be looking for another bounce right there. Personally speaking, ideally I'd like to see things get down to these lower levels back here, but I do think that each one of these levels past this point right here, the 0.5 just below 18,000, the 382 in the middle of the 17,000s, and then the 236 at the low 17,000 all have a chance to be that next potential higher low that I think a lot of people are looking for. But that offers a pretty damn big range, about $2,000 from top to bottom right now, and who knows where those fucking stray wicks go. I mean, shit, as long as 16,500 holds, Bitcoin is technically still in an uptrend on the daily, as that is your last higher low right here. So, presumably speaking, if we are looking for this bearish divergence on the daily to play out, the 21 exponential moving average is kind of where I'm looking for, and that would be the upper $17,000 target. So, I kind of like that for potentially looking for an edge. However, at the end of the day, nothing's guaranteed in this game. It just provides a nice little statistical advantage right there, and a very easy way to be managing risk at the same time as well. So I think with that said, that's a good place for me to cut this video off. I want to wish you the best once again. Take care, and until next time.